Welcome to today's episode. This time we're talking about bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder. We realize that people oftentimes get these mixed up, but they're really not the same thing. So we talk about the differences in symptoms, the overlaps, what helps both, some pop culture references so you can get a feel for these diagnoses, and what we can do to help others with these diagnoses. I want to make it very clear in this episode, I say bipolar depression a lot, just to hammer home the differences between these two disorders, but the official name is bipolar disorder 1 or 2. Okay, this way into bipolar and borderline personality disorder.
All right. Well, should we just dive right into the, I'm sure, lighthearted
Oh, yeah.
discussion on borderline personality disorder and
Right.
bipolar disorder?
Maybe a little more lighthearted than last time,
Then
just talking about
depression.
depression. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because there's actually some upsides to both bipolar and borderline.
Oh, good. Okay.
Some upsides, mostly downsides. But so the main thing I wanted to talk about borderline personality disorder and bipolar depression is a lot of times people get it mixed up.
Mhm.
Borderline bipolar, borderline bipolar, borderline bipolar. Which is it? Well, there's a big difference. A lot of people think, oh, they're so moody, so they're borderline or they're bipolar. No, it's wrong. Borderline is the one that's moody. Bipolar is not
Oh,
necessarily moody. Because bipolar is depression. If it's two opposite poles, like the North Pole, the South Pole, they're opposites. Bipolar opposites.
mhm.
So the opposite that comes in is the major depressive episode versus the manic or hypomanic episode. They're
Mhm.
opposites. So I just want to revisit the symptoms of depression. To have a major depressive episode for at least 2 weeks at a time, for at least most of the days during these 2 weeks at a time, you have to have feeling, down, sad, blah, depressed, or unmotivated. You don't find interest or pleasure in things. You normally find interest or pleasure in things. You're eating too much, not enough. You're sleeping too much, not enough. Never feeling rested. You could gain weight, lose weight. You might have insomnia. You might feel like really slowed down physically, like it's just harder to move. You're like walking through molasses, gravity is extra heavy on you, trouble concentrating, feeling like you're worthless, or you're letting other people down, suicidal ideation, that kind of stuff. So that's a major depressive episode. Again, at least 2 weeks at a time. If you have never had a major depressive episode in your life, you are not ever going to be diagnosed with bipolar depression.
Okay. That's good, I
You
guess.
Yeah, it is. It is. Because it's depression, bipolar depression, you have to have at least one major depressive episode in your life.
Ah, okay.
So, to meet criteria for bipolar depression, you also have to have a manic or hypomanic episode. And the only difference between a hypomanic and a manic episode is how long it lasts.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the criteria of what a manic episode is. So hypomanic has to last at least 4 days at a time. Manic episode has to last at least 7 days at a time.
Interesting. How do they come up with these? The amount of days?
I don't have enough information and research how the APA comes up with these criteria. We're on the DSM-5 TR, which is the fifth edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, and TR is text revision. So essentially, every time they come up with the next edition of the DSM, there's a whole committee. And it's a committee of psychiatrists and
Oh,
therapists and people
sure.
who have been in this field for a long time. It's
Mhm.
the APA, the American Psychological Association. So it's a lot of the time, or sorry, American Psychiatric Association. So it's a lot of the time MDs or PsyDs. So a medical doctor or a psychological doctor. A lot of the
Mhm.
time it's doctors. So it's who's ever on these committees essentially gets to decide what the criteria are. And generally, between DSM 3 and 5, things have been fairly consistent, not in like gender identity stuff, that things are changing there, have certainly
Sure.
changed there, should I say, from DSM 3 to DSM 5. But as far as the criteria for depression, bipolar, borderline, those have been fairly consistent.
Okay.
So it just really depends. I don't have any more information than that because I don't get lost in that kind of stuff that's irrelevant to what I'm trying to do.
Right.
But you could also, if you're interested in hearing about this more or learning about this more, go to the APA website. You can just Google it or any internet search. Apparently, Ask Jeeves is dead, so you can't ask Jeeves anymore.
Ex Jeeves. That's old.
That is old, right? I remember being 13, like, oh, Ask Jeeves.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Now we
That
just
was a
ask
long time ago.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah. So the time criteria, at least 4 days at a time hypomanic, 7 days at a time manic. So what is a manic episode? That is a time where you're feeling like you yourself, you're abnormally like, oh, I'm feeling great, or like I'm really myself today, or maybe I'm not feeling myself, but I'm feeling something and this is great. Um, or it's just I'm more like, I'm more moody and agitated and it's got to go my way kind of stuff. This really falls under the category of increased activity or energy and goal directed activity. So that's one of the main highlights of a hypomanic or manic episode is how much more you have motivation to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have something you're like set to do, then you're just like, oh, I'm itching to do something. Plus, you have grandiosity. And grandiosity is like, I can do anything. I'm king of the world. And even if, logically, it's probably not quite right, it's like, whatever, I can still do this. This is great. So, in addition to all of these, you also have less need for sleep. You may not need to sleep at all, but even if you get a couple hours, you're feeling rested. Like that was the best power nap of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It could be more talkative, more like you're buzzing almost. Like I've just got so much activity and energy and I just need something to do. You could also have that physical agitation. Like I'm showing you physically, like it's just the body just wants to be doing something.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you could be taking risky behaviors like, oh, I'm going to go to the casino. I'm going to win big. Or I'm going to fuck that person I just saw on the street because they're hot. Anything like that. It could be just anything risky and impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds probably illogical, but at the same time, it's like, oh, that sounds great. So if we look at a parts of self perspective, it's not the logical part in charge. It's usually the kid part plus the responsible part in charge when these manic or hypomanic episodes happen.
Okay.
So to give some references for what bipolar actually looks like, there's a really good episode of King of the Hill in season 8. It's called, I pulled this up, Just Another Manic Con Day. So season 13, episode 24, Khan has bipolar. So it shows him when he is manic and it shows him when he's depressed. And it's a very accurate representation.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it was a very good episode. It's, I think, the second to last episode of the old episodes of King of the Hill. It's a good one, worth watching.
Okay.
Also, if you've ever seen Shameless, their mom, she's not in the picture very much. She's in like a season. I don't remember which season it is, but she shows up just kind of unannounced and she's in a manic episode and things are great. And then she crashes and she's in a depressive episode. And so that's actually a really good portrayal as well of what bipolar looks like, both the manic and the depressed.
I haven't seen Shameless, but have you seen The Bear?
First season. Yeah.
Okay. Jamie Lee Curtis, the mom.
Uh-huh.
Did you see I don't remember if this was the first or second season. I think it might have been season 2, where they go to Christmas at her house.
The first season didn't have her in it.
Okay. Then it's that. Yeah, there's a Christmas episode. There's always an episode every season that will send your anxiety to here. And the first one was when the tickets kept coming in, when the online orders were coming in.
Yeah.
Season 2, I think, was the Christmas episode at Jamie Lee Curtis's house, because that's what she was running around like crazy and screaming and blah, 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 blah. And I thought something was going to happen to her. I thought she was going to like have a stroke or kill herself or something.
Sure.
And she crashed after that. And she was really going through something. So the way that you described the Shameless one reminded me a lot of The Bear. I can't say for sure that's what it was, but it sounded a lot like what you described.
Sure. Yeah. with these portrayals, as accurate as they are, they're not really showing the accuracy of the timelines. So with these three references, it's really showing I'm manic, I'm depressed. And that's not usually the way it goes. It can be fast cycling like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not normally high to low, low to high. It's not quite like that.
Yeah.
There's usually an in between. So you could be manic for a bit. You could be right where you want to be for a bit. You could be depressed for a bit. It's kind
Mm-hmm.
of an ebb and flow.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how the seasons change, kind of like how the tide gets high and low. It's an ebb and flow.
Okay.
And that's really the biggest difference to watch for as a layperson between, is this borderline or is this bipolar? Because if it's elevated for a while, it's, fairly consistent for a while, then it's low for a while. Look for that ebb and flow. That is bipolar.
Okay.
Borderline, that's moody. You could switch mood at a drop of a hat. Things could be fine. Next second, things aren't fine.
Mm.
It's that, where's this coming from? Kind of like out of the person, like what's going on? Kind of a deal. That's more borderline.
Okay.
Bipolar is predictable a lot of the time. You know what signs you're looking for if you're going into a depression. You know what signs you're looking for if you're going into a manic episode. Borderline is all over the place. Bipolar is consistent. Ebb and
Okay.
flow. Ebb and flow.
Okay.
So bipolar is a personality disorder. It's a cluster B personality disorder, which also includes narcissistic, antisocial, and histrionic. Cluster B personality disorders are always from disorganized attachment, which is one of the worst insecure attachments we can have. There's three types of insecure. Disorganized is the worst. So anyone who has disorganized attachment is a lot more susceptible to developing any of these cluster B personality disorders. The hallmark of borderline personality disorder is the reactivity of mood. All cluster Bs have mood reactivity, but borderline is seemingly the worst. So the symptoms to look for in borderline personality is frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. Someone with borderline is always afraid they're going to be abandoned. There's the attachment trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So in these frantic efforts, in this fear of abandonment, they might act really weird, seemingly, because they're doing anything they can. They're like begging you to stay, or the opposite. Fuck you. You can leave. I don't care. You were worthless. I never wanted you in my life. So it's very opposites with this too, which can be confusing with bipolar, because these are extremes of idealization versus devaluation. That's also kind of a hallmark of borderline as well. I Hate You, Don't Leave Me is one of the best books out there about people with borderline.
Oh.
I hate you in that devaluation, but don't leave me in that fear of abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idealization is, oh, you're perfect, and I'm so happy you're in my life because you're the only person who understands me, who can get me, who really knows me, kind of stuff. That's the idealization. But as soon as it feels like, oh, you don't know my entire soul, black and front to back, like I do, then you're a terrible person. So it's these extremes, and these can happen in the same sentence.
Mm.
This isn't a nice ebb and flow. This is like, what the hell just happened here?
Yeah.
Other symptoms are unstable and intense interpersonal relationships, which, vacillates between the idealization and devaluation. Unstable self-image or sense of self. A lot of time people with borderline don't know who they are.
Mm.
What's my purpose? I don't know. Who do I belong to? Where do I belong? I don't know. There's also impulsivity that's potentially self-damaging, like that risk-taking behavior in people with a manic episode. So there's another overlap.
Mm-hmm.
There could be self-harm or suicidal ideation, another overlap with a depressive episode. Marked reactivity of mood. That's where that moodiness comes in. The I hate you, don't leave me kind of stuff. Inappropriate, intense anger or difficulty controlling anger. The anger just comes out of nowhere, seemingly. You could be having a conversation about something, and then all of a sudden they're pissed off because they're thinking about something that jogged their memory of 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's also, and this is where things get to be kind of weird, but transient stress related paranoid ideation or severe dissociative symptoms. So that's the same criteria, but to me, that's two very different things. Two very
Okay.
different things under the same criteria, which anyone listening from the APA on the next DSM committee, take that into mind. Anyway, so severe dissociative symptoms essentially like people with borderline, because they have so much attachment trauma, essentially, parts of self never got to be connected.
Mm-hmm.
And so dissociation, again, just to review, is anything you don't have a conscious awareness of. So when we get these extremes of, fuck you, I hate you, but don't leave me, I love you, and I can't do anything without you. I'm like, I never really needed you in the first place, but I don't know why you're treating me like this. I did nothing wrong. Why? But fuck you. When you're getting all these different parts of self essentially in the same sentence, that could also be a dissociation.
Okay.
Because the people with borderline don't often realize this is what's going on. They know they said this, but they may not have the logical connection to why I said this. Yeah, it just popped out of my mouth. Maybe I was just mad. I don't know. But it's different parts of self jumping in within the same breath sometimes. And so that's where things get really tricky. And this is where the paranoid ideation comes from as well. It's different parts of self in the driver's seat or adjacent to the driver's seat or in the caboose. Parts of self are not working together, not even a little bit.
Okay.
And so the paranoid ideation usually comes from more of a protector and critical part of self that aren't necessarily connected to reality, like logical and responsible are. But as soon as logical and responsible are kicked out of the driver's seat, they're nowhere to be found. And so that connection to reality isn't necessarily there anymore. And therefore things seem paranoid or worse.
Mm-hmm.
So again, borderline personality disorder is a lot more complicated and tricky than the ebbs and flows of bipolar depression.
Depression. Okay.
So it's good examples of borderline. I would say Winona Ryder's character in Girl Interrupted. I know that's an
Oh.
older movie,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a good portrayal.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but apparently Rebecca from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I don't know. It looks like you've seen it.
I love that show.
Okay, tell
It's
me about it.
such a fun show. Yeah, that's Rachel Bloom,
Okay,
and it's her show. She directs it and wrote it and everything. And she's been to therapy, and you can tell.
okay,
And I think you'd like it. It's very much mental health touched on.
okay.
It's all about that. She's got a whole song about how it's okay to take mental health medications and stuff. It's a musical,
Nice,
the
love
whole
it.
series, and
Oh,
so it's actually it's a show that people who are theater kids, people who did theater in school and stuff, love that show. It's very much like a
oh,
Broadway show. I think you'd like it.
you've convinced me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. She's all over the place.
Hmm.
She's you love her, but also you're like, get it together, girl. Um, and then she's got a nutso mom and I say that in the nicest way possible. She's a kook and she's a delight.
Uh-huh.
The characters are great. I love it, and the music is hilarious and well done, and they have musical dance numbers, and it's yeah, I love that show.
Oh, well, you convinced me with it's practically a musical, so
Yeah,
I'm on board.
yeah. I mean, there's tons of music, and everybody sings and dances, and everybody's very talented in the
Hmm.
cast. So it's a really good show.
I love it. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
I will start watching it then. That's for
They're
sure.
very, very mental health, pro mental health, and explaining how things work, and giving examples of these different things.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I learned a lot watching that show. But I'm
hmm
glad to know that people believe that that it's real. I mean that it's done well in that way.
sure.
Because for someone like me watching it, I mean, like I said, I did go to school for psychology, but I didn't finish, and so I don't have all of it. But I
Hmm.
did find that it was interesting. It looked like it was accurate to me, but
Sure.
I'm glad to find out that people that know better also found it accurate.
Well, I'm hoping they know better because this was a Reddit find.
Yeah. Well,
But
I mean, people on Reddit are pretty smart.
they are. I
A lot.
agree.
Not all of them, I'm sure,
Not all
but
of them, that's for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Depending on what subreddit we're talking about.
Right? Indeed. Yeah. Last example I have for borderline would be Anakin Skywalker from episode 3.
Okay.
So just because I know that movie pretty well, I'm a Star Wars nerd. What can I say? So basically, Anakin Skywalker is constantly vacillating between the right and the wrong thing. And he's got Obi-Wan Kenobi on one hand, and he's got Senator Palpatine on the other hand. And so it's kind of showing the outside influence. It's not necessarily showing it's from attachment trauma, but looking at episode 1 and Anakin's upbringing, I could see some attachment trauma there. But at the same time, I'm going to stick to episode 3. So he's got these push and pull, like which one do I go with? And every time it sort of kind of disrupts his he doesn't necessarily have a sense of self. So anytime he thinks it disrupts his sense of self because it's shaky, it's kind of a crisis.
Okay.
And with Padme, he's basically, I love you and you're perfect and nothing's ever going to go wrong and I'm going to protect you. And then as soon as he starts getting down in his mind, like he's not talking to her and he's like being secretive and I don't know. And how could you go against the blah, blah, blah. It's just not probably an extreme example of someone with borderline, but it's in a more subtle example.
Okay.
A lot of the time with people with borderline, we think it's women, but guys can certainly have it too. It just shows up differently
Sure.
because of socialization between men, women, blah, 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 whatever. We've had that conversation. So, lastly, at the end of episode 3, where Anakin and Obi-Wan are facing off each other, Anakin's like, you're wrong, and this and that, the other thing. And Obi-Wan's like, you're delusional. How did you even think of this? And it's just, anyway.
Mm.
I wish I could give better examples, but I haven't seen the movie in a bit. I'm just drawing off my memory because I've seen it a lot.
Yeah. I
Anyway.
haven't. I saw it, but not repeatedly. So I don't. I only barely. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that the one where? So these are the three that came out after the original 3 movies, but they take place before.
Yes, absolutely. So I just want to beat a dead horse a little bit. There's a lot of overlaps between borderline and bipolar. But remember, bipolar is depression. You have
Mm.
ebbs and flows. It's more of a flowing sort of cycle, whereas borderline is you never really know what you're going to get day to day or even sentence to sentence.
Mhm.
One day things can be perfectly fine. The next day things are completely just wrong.
Mhm.
And it really depends on the person with borderline, how they're feeling and thinking about things.
Okay.
A lot of the time, people with bipolar don't have that sort of reactivity. It's not so moody. It's like, I'm just kind of depressed for a while, or I'm fine for a while, or I'm great for a while.
Mhm.
Again, borderline is you're all over the place, you're moody, you don't know what to expect. So, what's even trickier now is a lot of the time, if not most of the time or all the time, people with borderline also have depression and they could also
Mhm.
have bipolar depression.
Oh,
And that
double
makes it
whammy.
even, yeah, that's a double whammy. That makes it even harder to tease out. But the thing is, most people with borderline have complex trauma. It's not just the attachment trauma. They likely also have other types of traumas. So it gets to be complex PTSD. It gets to be bipolar or just straight up depression. It could be generalized anxiety disorder. It could be other diagnoses on top of the personality disorder.
Okay.
And that makes it so much more complicated because people with borderline could also have bipolar and they could be cycling. And when they're
Mhm.
cycling, it makes their borderline symptoms that much more expansive, essentially. The depression's deeper, the mania is more elevated. And it could be a lot more rapid cycling as far as high to low to high to low. But
Mhm.
even within that high to low with a rapid cycler, someone with borderline, you're still going to get the all over the place kind of stuff.
Okay.
So it really depends. things are getting complicated, of course. It really depends on the symptom set, someone's life experiences, someone's, I don't want to say family necessarily, but if someone has a personality disorder in their family, they're more likely to have a personality disorder themselves, not because it's genetic necessarily, because that's a learned repetitive thing.
Behavior. Yeah, they've seen it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how
That's how
they
my
learn how
mom
to
handled
relate.
everything, or, you know.
Yes. Yeah. And so much of the time, I have found that if my clients have a parent with a personality disorder, they often have traits of the personality disorder because that's how they were raised. That's how they were
Mhm.
socialized. That's how they were told to interact,
Mhm.
essentially.
Mhm.
Every child that is born to their parents, they have to adapt to their parents to survive.
Sure.
If the parents aren't attuned and adaptive and all of those things that the kid actually needs.
Mhm.
So again, a lot of time people who have a parent with a personality disorder end up with traits. It doesn't mean they have a personality disorder. That's just how they were raised.
Okay.
So if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, oh, so do I or just someone I know have bipolar or borderline or both? It's better to talk to a professional because these are hard symptoms to tease out. Even for seasoned trauma therapists, these are hard symptoms to tease out.
I imagine it's even harder when you're trying to do it yourself, because
Yeah.
as you said, sometimes they're not aware, self-aware of what is coming out of their mouths or whatever
Yeah.
they're feeling. They're not even really aware of it 100%. It's always hard
Yep.
to diagnose yourself.
Uh-huh.
Unless you're, filling out a form on like, do you have ADHD? Can you not finish a
Right.
sentence? Can you, you can check that off. You know that.
Right.
But with what this kind of stuff sounds like it's a little bit tougher, like you said, to figure out. But especially, I would
Absolutely.
think if you're trying to do it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And even symptoms of ADHD will overlap with these symptoms, like the trouble concentrating, especially the manic symptoms, like the grandiosity, the flight of ideas, or like, I'm onto this, I'm onto that, I'm onto that, I want this, I want that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And it kind of looks ADHD.
Hmm.
So again, these are tough symptoms to tease out. Definitely find a professional if you think you have some of these symptoms. If you definitely think you have borderline, definitely seek a professional. But bipolar, you should seek a professional too,
Hmm.
because the more extreme symptoms are just hard to deal with, especially if you've done something in this manic episode or depressive episode, and then you come out of this episode and you're like, oh my god, what did I do?
Hmm.
Like you just blew your entire life savings at the craps table or something. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And so dealing with these behaviors in these episodes is often really hard to deal with just in the aftermath. Dealing with that can bring on the major depressive episode again. Or dealing with that could bring on different parts of the personality in someone with borderline. Oh, well, we're just going to fix it somehow. Let's go rob a
Hmm.
bank to fix it. That could also be a manic symptom. So again, they're tough to tease out. Some things that you can do to help this, number one for both, is get better sleep. The more quality sleep you have, the better your symptoms are going to, I don't know, tame.
Okay.
Sleep is hard to come by in both a manic and depressive episode. So if you're in either a depressive or manic episode, sleep is hard to come by. That's going to be your number one priority for your own well-being. Get quality sleep.
Hmm.
If you're in a manic episode, if it's a couple of hours, get them.
Hmm.
If you're in a depressive episode and you're doing nothing but sleep, well, maybe walk around for a little bit and then go back to sleep. Sleep is so important. And before we started recording, we were both talking about the functional mushroom drinks that
Hmm.
help us sleep better. I drink a functional coffee, and what sort of drink are you drinking?
It's called Recess. It's a seltzer. It's a
Oh,
like a pop in a can,
uh-huh.
and it's adapt. Is it adaptogenic? Is that the word?
I think so.
Mushrooms and magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Brittany that a friend of mine recommended it to me, and I bought some on Amazon. They were on sale. They're kind of expensive,
Oh,
but I got it like a 12 pack for like $25, which I think they're 35 normally.
okay.
So it came with a bunch of different flavors, so you could try them all out, and I like all of them. Um,
Nice.
But the first time I had one, I had it in the evening after dinner, and I slept so well that night. I normally wake up at 2, at 3, at 4, at
Ugh,
5.
gross.
The only time I don't wake up in between all those is when I'm awake the whole time.
Oh, man.
So I I wake up to pee, and then I can't get back to sleep, and then the dogs are restless, and then I listen to a podcast, and then I get into it. Whatever. There's a million reasons that I can't get back to sleep.
Yes.
So best for me if I just sleep all the way through. But that up to now has been unheard of.
Uh-huh.
So I drank one of those, and I don't feel anything when I'm drinking it. It's not like you get like euphoric or anything like that. It gives you
Right.
no, it's not mood altering at all.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
but I woke up the next morning because the dog was standing over me, and
Uh-huh.
it was 5:45, and I'm like, holy shit! Did I just sleep like a normal person all the way through the night?
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, it must be that pop, but I wasn't sure. Seltzer, I guess it is. It's no
Sure.
sugar. Um,
Nice.
and I was like, I'm gonna before I say that this is what it was, I'll do it a few more times. So
Yeah.
I did it a second time. The second time, the second time, I it was a night that we had gone to happy hour and came home and made drinks. So I made a drink with it. So I mixed
Uh-huh.
it with vodka, which
Yeah.
I
Wow.
know I know vodka or drinking will it'll make you go to sleep, but it'll usually wake you
Uh-huh.
up in the middle of the night, which that does that for me. No, I
Uh-huh.
slept all the way through the night that night too.
Oh, wow.
And then I tried it again just a couple nights ago,
Uh-huh.
night before last. I tried it again and not drinking alcohol, just regular. Had that in the evening. I didn't even finish the whole can. Yep, slept all the way through until Greg woke up to feed the dogs.
Wow.
So I'm going to say 3 times in different scenarios, it worked for me for
Mm-hmm.
sleep. And I am planning to try and drink one every night.
Oh,
They're
I love that.
delicious. So, I mean, they're really good. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, you asked me what mushroom it is. I really don't know. And I didn't look it up in between the two discussions.
Oh,
But
that's okay.
I will look it up. I'll put links to it in the show notes, and I'll make a note in there, and maybe I'll do a little voiceover here or whatever it is.
Sure.
Quick correction from future Amy. I said the recess I was drinking had adaptogenic mushrooms in it. It does not. I was drinking Recess Mood, which has magnesium, L-theanine, and lemon balm. So no mushrooms. Apparently, I just added those myself. Back to the episode. But yeah, I don't know. Works really well for me.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. This functional coffee I'm drinking has got those mushroom extracts too, with some other stuff that's actually good
Sure.
for you. But I may not be sleeping through the night like you are, but I'm actually waking up and feeling like, oh, I could actually get up. Whereas before I'm like, oh my God, I can't get up,
Oh, yeah. No, I'll wake up at 2 a.m. and be like, I'm ready to go. Let's go. And then I look at my app and I go, you slept for an hour and a half. You can't get up now.
Yeah.
So. When you're working on your mental health, sometimes the smallest rituals make the biggest difference. That's why we love 3 Spirit, award-winning non-alcoholic elixirs designed by plant scientists and bartenders to help you feel good in every sense. Each blend has its own mood. Social Elixir helps you to connect and feel uplifted. Livener brings energy and focus without the crash. And Nightcap soothes your mind and body into real rest. Instead of numbing out, these drinks help you tune in, whether you need connection, energy, or calm. Head to us.3spiritdrinks.com and use the code THISWAYIN for 15% off your first order. 3 Spirit, crafted for your mind, body, and balance. But this reminds me, our sponsor, 3 Spirit, not that this is an ad or anything, they have those mushrooms in the Nightcap version.
Oh, great.
Different flavors, And
Yeah.
Nightcap has the lion's mane, and it has a bunch of other mushrooms, and that is supposed to help you sleep too. I have drank that, but I've not drank that on purpose to sleep, and I've not really paid attention to if it worked or not. Now that I'm thinking about this, though, I will.
Yeah, do.
But so
anything to help sleep is good in my
Yeah.
book. I don't care if it's coffee, a seltzer, three spirit drink. I mean, it's all good in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw this out there that if you were in a manic episode, you wouldn't be able to tell yourself go back to sleep. You would just be getting up,
Yeah.
doing something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's my logic part going, I don't care if you feel like you want to get up right now and you have 500 things that you want to get done today.
Yeah.
You need to get some sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's good. That's what you want.
yeah. Sometimes it works.
Again, if it was a manic episode, you'd just be getting up and you're like, oh, what can I do?
Yeah. I do feel like that a lot of days, but I don't feel like it's manic. I just feel like I'm excited to go do this, or I want to really get that done. And so
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's manic, but
Does it last for at least 4 days at a time?
no, that's for about 2 hours. And then
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
I'm tie. I'm going bed. I'm going to take a nap.
There you go. Exactly. So some other things that help with both symptom sets. So um, if it's bad enough, and usually borderline and bipolar are bad enough, medications are helpful, especially antidepressants. There are medications specifically for manic episodes as well. A lot of the time, someone who has bipolar is on an antidepressant and an anti-manic episode medication. There's starting to be medications that cover both these days, but it's kind of a balancing act. And people with borderline can be prescribed these meds as well, especially the antidepressants. But the problem with any personality disorder is since parts of self are so disconnected a lot of the time, medications only work on certain parts of self.
Okay.
So, medications aren't necessarily helpful for people with borderline or other personality disorders. They may be helpful for treating, underlying symptoms of depression, but not the personality disorder itself.
Okay.
The other problem with people with borderline and someone who is in a manic episode, they're like, fuck these meds. I don't need these. And so they stop
Sure.
taking them. And so medication compliance is not consistent, and that doesn't help. And so if someone's taking meds just here and there, or just right now, and then they stop taking it for a month or so, it's not going to help.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of time, again, people with borderline or any personality disorder, meds don't help very much.
Mm-hmm.
And again, people who get into manic episodes, you're like, I don't need them. I'm
Yeah.
good.
I feel
Because
great.
because they are for the moment.
Yeah.
Yep. So medications are helpful, but there is definitely downsides to that. So better is getting good sleep, having a good support system, someone who's going to be in your life day to day, even if it's just a text. Someone who can tell, oh man, you're getting really down, or oh man, you're getting really high. Oh geez, you're manic today. Someone who knows you, someone who can
Mm-hmm.
help reality test with you, someone who can help keep you in check. Not someone who's going to be critical or like, oh geez, you're really depressed today. You're such a downer. Not someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like, oh man, you must be having a hard day today. What can I do to help you?
Mm-hmm.
Or man, you're really manic today. How can I help you?
I like how you matched the personality or the emotions to the person what they're feeling. You're
Yeah.
really manic, or you really seem like you're really sad.
Yes. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Because it shows the people that you're attuned.
Yeah.
Like you can tell what's going on with them emotionally, physically, whatever. And by matching that, you're kind of joining them in where they're at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's really helpful. Just anyone to be in your life, to be a support is huge. If you have more than one person, even better. If you have a whole group of people, even better. The better your support system, the better you're going to be, of course. And that way, like if things start getting really like risky or really like, I'm really depressed, I'm thinking about killing myself, that kind of stuff, someone's there to help. Like if you aren't in the right frame of mind to make a decision like I should go to the ER, I should call 911 because I'm in a bad spot mentally, someone else is there to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're like, fuck you, I don't want to go to the hospital, it's fine. It's like, no, I think we really should get you some help right now.
Mm-hmm.
You want a support system. That is the number one thing that helps through all of these symptoms. And If you don't have the best support system, having a pet or something to take care of, something outside of yourself is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
That's often tethering or anchoring.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, focus on someone else's well-being, even if it's a dog or a cat or a parrot, it doesn't matter. That often helps to kind of reduce symptom intensity,
Sure.
frequency, duration, whatever. Just having something else to take care of, especially if it's another living being.
Mm-hmm.
However, the caveat to that is sometimes people get so depressed or so manic or so whatever that the pet does get neglected or worse.
Mm-hmm.
That's not as often as you would tend to think. It does happen though.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, all of the clients that I've ever had who had depression, bipolar depression, or borderline took care of their pets very well. And their pets weren't neglected. They were well fed, all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes too well taken care of.
Too overfed.
Yeah, sometimes.
I can see how that having another being relying on you
Yeah.
would help with a lot of pieces of that, but
Mhm.
also to sort of get out of your own head,
Yeah.
you know, the that there is another being in my world that needs me to step up and do this.
Yes. That's right. And I would love to say if you have kids, your kids are what really should be your focus. But sometimes with the attachment junk, that gets to be even messier. And so maybe not try to focus all your attention on your kids, maybe focus on your dog instead. You don't want to perpetuate the same sort of attachment trauma that you have to your own kids.
Mm, yeah.
So sometimes leaving your kids alone and just letting them do their own thing is better than constantly in their business. And people with borderline, it can be all over the place. And so being more consistent for your kids is going to be better for them. So if that means focusing your attention on your dog, your cat, whatever, that's okay. Do that.
Okay.
Uh, there's so many things I can say, but I'll save that for another episode because that's really dives more into the human interactions that get to be really tricky
Mm-hmm.
when you have a parent or a child or if any family member with a personality disorder. So whatever, I'll save that for another
Okay.
time. So another thing that really helps all of these symptom sets is stick to a daily routine. If you have a pet or something that you have to take care of that's external, that helps maintain that routine.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a routine and you're kind of already automatically following that routine, that does not lend itself to risky behaviors like gambling, sex, whatever. It also does not lend itself to um, letting your brain go to all these places where you could be more depressed or more manic or more paranoid or whatever. Keeping a routine also keeps people grounded, anchored in a way.
Okay.
So if we look at all of these things, sleeping better, good support system, routine, something else to take care of. I mean, it could be just going to a job. That's something to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And medications potentially. I mean, if we have all of these things, it's going to help maintain a certain level of I'm okay, even if you have all of these symptoms.
Okay.
The the thing to remember under every single mental health symptom or disorder is the stress response. The stress response with people with borderline is all over the place. You can get fight, flight, freeze, attach, submit, and stress response is off. You can get it all in the same breath. Stress response with people with bipolar is shutdown, is depression. The stress response could be off when things are fine, and then it's a fight or flight
Mm-hmm.
when we're manic. A lot of the time, if we're going towards something like goal directed activity, it's like a fight response,
Mm-hmm.
even if that's not necessarily like what we feel like, or there's no real anger or anything. It's still
Mm-hmm.
like, I got to do this
Acting
or
action.
else.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So all of this really boils down to the stress response again. So that's everything.
Mm-hmm.
The more intense the stress response is on, the more intense these symptoms will be. Even if you're really, really depressed, that's your shutdown stress response. It's on really intensely. So even if we're having fun in a manic episode, the stress response is still on because like remember if you're at like a theme park and you're waiting for your turn for a roller coaster, like you're having fun, this is exciting, but I'm kind of nervous, I'm kind of amped up. It's the
Uh-huh.
same stress response, it's just more comfortable emotions with it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So that's essentially the manic episode.
Okay.
Yeah, more comfortable emotions, but same stress response.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know it's a lot. It's a lot. It is.
Yeah. So the body is still reacting the same way it would if you're actually in danger, but you're having fun with it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
It'd be like, for example, riding motorcycles is really fun. I think it's exciting, and you can go really fast, you can go slow, you can have a good time, you can have you can race. I mean, it depends on how you want to ride your motorcycle. And so, to me, like if I'm going fast on a motorcycle, I'm trying to race somebody, it's exciting. It's like it's exhilarating, but I'm also scared because I could crash and kill myself.
I
Right?
would just be terrified, but
Yeah, see, exactly. It's our perception of it that changes the stress response,
mhm.
real or perceived threats, right? So, again, a lot of this boils down to our stress response, how we're perceiving things, also our experiences. Do we have attachment trauma? Do we have bad experiences that we've gone through in life? There's so many layers to all of this. I could go on, but I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think we got it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot more to it, um, but I think that this gives a good basis for understanding what these two things are and how they're not the same.
Uh-huh.
I never really paid it. I don't know if I didn't learn this because I didn't get that far in my schooling or what, but I think I just mixed them up because they both start with B,
Yes.
and not so. I didn't even realize that they were kind of similar. I mean, that
Kind
there
of.
are or overlaps anyway. I don't
Oh
think I
yeah.
even realized that. I think I just, oh, she's got that B, the B personality disorder, whatever. It starts with a B, you know.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's where my mind has been for the last 20 years.
hmm And most people don't dabble in mental health stuff, so why would they know the difference?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm hammering home bipolar depression,
Mm-hmm.
borderline personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the B's, it's what else. So
Yeah.
BPD or BD.
Mm-hmm.
And they're similar too, aren't they? BPD versus
Well,
BD. I mean, come on.
and the one D is depression and the one other D is disorder. So
Yeah, exactly.
different words for different, but different, same. What am I trying to say? Same letter, different words.
Right. Yep. So I know I was even getting borderline bipolar mixed up. It is easy to mix them up just because of the B's. You're right.
Mhm.
But that's why I'm beating this dead horse, like bipolar depression,
Yeah.
borderline personality disorder. Yeah. Overlaps, but very, very different.
Hmm.
Or do you have any lingering questions or like, what's the difference here or anything like that still?
The only question that popped into my head while we were discussing this is what border are we talking about when you say borderline? Are
Yeah.
we right on a line of two different things? Is this manic depressive or is this something else that borderline is where is the border of what?
Yeah. So when I think it was DSM-3, it could have been 2. I don't remember the history exactly, but essentially they were trying to determine what phenomenon this is essentially. And so they were thinking it's on the borderline of schizophrenia.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why it's borderline personality disorder because it's on the borderline of schizophrenia because a lot of the time with that like paranoia that people with well, I mean, you can get it with bipolar too, but a lot of people with borderline get that paranoia. And a lot of the time, people with schizophrenia or psychosis have paranoia.
Hmm.
So let me tell you, both of those are rooted in the same phenomenon. So it's a very traumatic background, especially growing up in their family of origin. Parents very well could have been vindictive, spiteful, abusive in so many different ways, so on and so forth. So that paranoia comes from traumatized parts of self that are held back here in the caboose, essentially, because they're just full of emotion.
Hmm.
If they were right here in the front of mind all the time, no one would be able to operate. So these very intense emotional parts of self that are stuck here in the caboose only get to come out and play through hallucinations or paranoia or other things. And so all of this paranoia is rooted in reality. It may have been reality 30 years ago and not today. And that's why it seems like paranoia.
Okay.
Because the past is overlapping on the present, and people with borderline and schizophrenia, stuff like that, don't even realize it. Don't realize it's parts of self. And
Oh,
that's essentially
okay.
what it is.
Yeah.
So, again, borderline personality disorder on the borderline of schizophrenia. For the DSM-5, I know some people are trying to change it to emotional intensity disorder or emotional intensity personality disorder.
They're trying to change borderline to that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a much more accurate representation
Sure. And it
because
doesn't
it
start with a
is.
B, so we're not going to mix it up with the other one.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. But I hate that term borderline because it is still rooted in past science that we didn't have answers for, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
It
and to
was
me, it sounds like you say that person's borderline. That that to me sounds like they're going to crack at any moment. We're all in danger.
right. And they
So,
could, and we
yeah.
could be.
But I mean, it's a little more scary
right.
than the what was the emotion one you said that they want to change it to?
Yeah. Emotional intensity.
That makes that sounds more like I don't know, like it doesn't sound as dire to
Right.
me.
Indeed. Yeah.
And it is a better descriptor, I think.
It is more accurate for sure. Because that is really the hallmark of people with borderline. They have emotional intensity. It's so much reactivity because of that fear of abandonment.
Hmm. Hmm.
And again, that goes to that attachment junk, and that's very, very little kid parts that are again hanging out way back here in the caboose. And so it's a whole complicated thing.
I would love for us to do whether it would be a series or just an episode on attachment issues
Oh yeah.
because I find that stuff fascinating.
Oh yeah. I
The
mean,
little I
there's
know.
most of us have attachment issues.
Hmm.
There's one type of secure attachment. There's three types of insecure attachment. So 1 to 3, what do you think of the odds are of people having secure attachment in this world?
Right. Probably not great.
Not great.
Probably not great.
Yeah. And if you have at least one parent with attachment issues, you will likely have attachment issues. If both
Sure.
parents have attachment issues, you definitely have attachment issues.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it could be anywhere from attachment issues to attachment trauma
Hmm.
or neglect, which is oftentimes worse than trauma,
Hmm.
especially the littler we are. But yeah, we should definitely do a series on attachment.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. It
All
does
right.
get
So look for
really,
that in the future, guys.
yes, absolutely. So that's really what I have on borderline and bipolar. Really,
Okay.
just again, wanted to tease out the differences, but there are a lot of overlaps.
Yeah, there are. All right. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
I think that was a good thing for us to do because I know I can't be the only one that is confused or was confused about the two of them.
No, absolutely. If you know someone in your life who has borderline boundaries and enforcing those boundaries are your best friend.
Hmm.
People with borderline freak out with boundaries because it triggers that abandonment,
Yeah.
fear, that real or imagined abandonment. But being consistent, especially with enforcing those boundaries, shows your person with borderline that you're not going away, you're not leaving them. And the more consistent you are, the more they're going to be like, every part of them eventually is going to be like, okay, you do mean what you say.
Hmm.
It might take years to get there
Hmm.
because, again, their parts have to be on the same page. But again, the more consistent you are, the better. Because again, that disorganized attachment that is really fueling the symptoms of borderline, disorganized attachment is not consistent at all. So again, someone in your life who has borderline, the more consistent you are, the better. And if you're part of their support system, being consistent is key.
Hmm.
If you have someone in your life who has bipolar depression, just being there for them, especially when you don't hear from them as much,
Hmm.
reach out because they're
Hmm.
probably in a depressive episode,
Hmm.
or they could be in a manic episode. They could be
They're busy.
doing something you're. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. So if you don't hear from them for a bit, check in, please.
Okay.
It's better to check in than not. There's a 21 Pilots song that's it basically says, at the risk of feeling dumb, check in.
Yeah, that's
You'd
nice.
rather feel dumb than lose a friend, essentially,
Yeah.
is what the lyrics are. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Again, if you have someone who's got bipolar depression, you don't hear from them for a bit, just check in, reach out, see how they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good advice. This Way In is a conversation about mental health and everyday well-being, but it is not therapy. Listening to this podcast does not create a therapist-client relationship, and the information we share is for educational and entertainment purposes only. If you are feeling overwhelmed or struggling with your mental health, please reach out to a qualified professional in your area. Never delay, disregard, or change professional recommendations or advice because of something you heard here. And please remember that any views expressed here are our own and don't represent any licensing boards. This Way In is co-produced by Brittney Baxter-Dameron and me, Amy Lotsberg, at Collected Sounds Media. I also edit and manage the show, which is part of the Collected Sounds Independent Podcast Network.